Yeah, I mean, I'm totally for that. Even though I don't think it'll happen, just like Shy Sports fan, watch us get the number 5th fucking pick and give it to Orlando. You know, it's just the luck of the Chicago Bulls. We got D in the comments. How bad should we feel about AKME's draft picks? That Terry jumper is brutal. Don't tell people that. Don't tell people that, because
you had our video guy clip me saying that he wasn't an NBA player. What do you mean? Don't tell anybody that.
I'm just saying. Listen. I think Dalen Terry is a good hustle player. I think there's a place for him on this roster. I do. I think there's a place.
You know where the place was? The place was heavy minutes for him if you traded Alex Caruso for something of value, because as much as I love AC, his value is based on his contract right now. Because he makes under $10 million a year and the impact he provides for that money to a contender that has extremely high value. The report that came out today that I believe you shared and wrote an article about said what Golden State, they coveted him. They didn't want Gary Payton the second back, despite the fact that he won a championship for him.
Well, you just never got the specifics. But I'm still wondering if it was 2 first-round picks like that was floating out there. Because, where there's smoke, there's fire with that kind of shit. And even a week after the fact with that report coming out, it kind of shows you that, like, okay, there was serious conversation. Okay, Steve Kerr wasn't bullshitting when he was probably tampering there talking to Alex Caruso. That's funny to me. Like, I think that there was something there. And I think the Bulls and Arturas, Karnisovas, and Marc Eversley are too proud. And Jerry Reinsdorf wants that fucking play in, that one-game revenue so bad that they were going to do anything they could to keep the core that they had together that played a great 35 games last year, and they were going to ride it out. That's a huge fuck up. Yes, you can come in and headbutt Steve.
Had any kind of inkling that Zoe was going to come back.
Yeah.
That would be the only way I would put a stop on making moves.
And we know he's not coming back. They're shutting him down next week. Yeah, this is done. It's done. Fucking done. Because they're done. They're out. The Bulls will not make the play.
Billy Donovan wouldn't be calling Russell Westbrook and begging him to come to Chicago during our 5-game losing streak.
That's another fucking thing, too. What is Utah doing? Like, what are they doing? Like, this is a long fucking buyout process. I mean, I know what we talked about yesterday, but they're allowing him to talk to teams and while they discuss a potential buyout and all this stuff. Then Shams comes out today and saying that there's like really no market for him. Number one, I do want to say something that's all basketball related, just not Bulls related. Get the fuck out of here with there's no space in the league for Russell Westbrook. I'm not a huge Westbrook guy, all right? But there's a place in a league for a former MVP and a guy that can come out and get you 30, maybe once or twice a week. I'm serious. If there's a fucking room for Dalen Terry to headbutt stanchions and shit and make this fan base pop a chub, then there's fucking room for Russell Westbrook. I got mad. I apologize.
I mean, you got Marco sitting on the bench. You got Marcos on a lot of rosters in this league to say. I guess the difference there is somebody like Marco who's trying to find a way to stay in the NBA is perfectly content making $2 million or whatever the fuck he makes to sit on the 15th spot on the bench and go play in the G League and average a 20-10 double-double and shit.
We saw him in the G League. All right? I've seen Dalen Terry in the G League.
I don't know what he's doing this year.
The same thing he was doing last year.
Numbers wise, I don't know what he's doing in the G League this year, and that's simply because I don't care where those numbers they don't exist.
They're fake.
So the difference there is he's okay sitting on the bench. Russell Westbrook wants to fucking ball, and he's not just going to sit on your bench.
Honestly, dude, when we were trying to compete, I'm like sitting there thinking to myself, like, oh my god, like he just doesn't fit. Now, fuck it. If he's interested, I'd like to see a couple Brody dunks. I
just want to see him give a shot of life into this team. Like, give me somebody that fucking cares enough. I mean, I guess Dalen Terry cares enough. He put his head into his stanchion. But
and you know what? The kid plays hard, too. I feel like we're dogging a kid who's trying to get some time. I'm not trying to do that. He plays hard. He just has no offensive game whatsoever.
We're answering a question, Buzz. We were asked about AKME's draft picks. That's what we're doing.
And I got away from the Patrick Williams thing because every time I do that, people get mad at me.
But Marco, not
he fucking blows too. Yeah. Io's good.
Terry, when you could have had Walker Kessler when people are begging for rim protection, was the best, at least elite skill blocker in the fucking draft and he was on the board when you were picking in the late 20s. Probably somebody that could have played, would have been able to use extra money elsewhere because you wouldn't have had to pick up Drummond. So, yeah, I mean, I want Dalen Terry to be good, but to take on like a wing prospect that's going to take a lot of development, and this team hasn't proven that they can develop, and your current message was contention and winning and focusing on that. How are you going to develop him if he's not going to get any playing time? He's only getting playing time now because we're closer to the fucking 12th seed than we are the 8th. And like, this is the issue. And Pat wasn't on this timeline either. Like you drafted.
He's not on any timeline. That dude fucking surfed off the timeline. His timeline's broken. It's like that shit from fucking Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. It's in a fucking hidden closet somewhere. Yeah, you heard what I said. I just related it to Disney because he's soft. I'm not fucking sitting here playing around with this shit. I'm sick of talking about Patrick Williams all the time.
I have to admit, the other day, I saw you post under our own podcast page that said the Paw Patrol is out. And you were like, his nickname's Paw Patrol because he's soft. And I was just like, shit, dude, you taking shots at our own page? I've never tweeted off of our page. I don't know who was on there that day, but I felt bad for them.
It wasn't me. I didn't tweet from the podcast page. I very rarely tweet from the podcast page because I never know what. I don't want the podcast page to look negative, and I don't want it to look too positive because you know me. I ride higher, I ride low. Like there's no in between with me. So it all gets very terrible. And then I see we post like, oh, the Paw Patrol or the Paw is on patrol. I'm like, they call him Paw Patrol because he's soft as a toddler's television show, which is the fucking truth. I can't. I can't. Like when he put his shoulder into who was that? Dorte or whatever his name is in the first quarter, second quarter, and he got that little layup. And Stacey's like, oh yeah, Pat, that's how you do it. I'm like, oh no, he bullied a 6'4" fucking shooting guard. Oh! He finally used his size for something. Great. Now Twitter will have a clip and they can tell me how great he is.